Coordination, agility, and speed training for soccer. Part 2, Advanced Training. In Part 2 of the series, Coordination, Agility, and Speed Training for Soccer, we present more advanced training exercises. The tasks are more complex and the obstacle course more difficult than in the basic training. Successful execution of these exercises requires fast and precise application of the lessons learned during the basic training, as well as a level of muscular development that will allow these more difficult tasks to be carried out smoothly. In this video, you will also find exercises that combine coordination and agility tasks with skill-specific techniques. Coordination, agility, and speed training promotes the development of a player's performance on the path to acquiring a high level of ball-playing skills. A varied program of coordination and agility training is essential for players at all levels. Coordination and agility exercises should be part of every player's warming up routine. Simple organizational formats, such as the square shown here, provide the framework for such warming up programs, which should always be as varied and stimulating as possible. Here, for example, simple running and jumping exercises are combined with other coordination and agility elements. As we've already shown in Part 1, the zipper system is a good aid to developing the player's sense of space and time, because each player has to cross through the middle in a given pattern. Naturally, there are also other organizational formats that are suitable for this purpose. The players must concentrate fully if they are to be able to maintain the correct distance to their partner after the turn and the run through the middle. The players now carry out an exercise in pairs. Good timing is required. They must take off simultaneously, land securely after the hand contact, and immediately continue their run. As this diagram shows, coordination is the interplay of the central nervous system and the muscular system. The central nervous system regulates and controls the operation of individual muscles and the intensity of the power exerted. Sensors and receptors in the muscular system report back about changes in posture and the power exerted by each individual muscle. The most precise possible harmonization of the use of various muscles is referred to as intermuscular coordination. Intermuscular coordination is responsible for activating the greatest possible number of available muscle fibers, and therefore for the power developed by an individual muscle. A movement is constantly monitored and adjusted during its execution. This is a key coordination task. The more highly developed the intermuscular and intramuscular coordination of an athlete, the better the quality of his or her movements.
So, einbeinige Prellsprünge mit dem linken Bein. Schön rausprellen. Hops, hops, hops. Ja, ruhig mal ein bisschen schneller.
The hops that the players are making are difficult to coordinate, and the level of exertion is high. For this reason, there must be sufficient pauses. The number of rods should be selected so that the player can cover the course in no longer than 10 to 15 seconds.
2 mit links, 2 mit rechts. Im Wechsel. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Gut. Links, links, rechts, rechts, links, links. Prellsprünge links, rückwärts. Einbeine. Gut,
The distance between the cones, the height of the rods, and the tasks the players have to carry out should be regularly varied. Hopping exercises can be alternated with less intensive ones. All movements should be practiced with both the left and the right foot to ensure that the load is evenly shared.
Links, links, weit, rechts, rechts, weit. Und das viel lockerer, als ich es gemacht habe. Ganz locker, schön rausprellen. Auf geht's. Hopp, links, links, weit. Hopp, hopp, weit. Und schneller. Hopp, zack, hopp, hopp, zack. Und noch schneller. Jawohl. Wir gehen jetzt über den Parcours rüber mit einem einbeinigen Prellsprung. Links, dann auf dem beidbeinigen, rechts beidbeinig. Also links beidbeinig, rechts beidbeinig. Und das möglichst schnell herüber, so schnell ihr könnt. Auf geht's. Hopp, zack, hopp, zack, hopp, zack. Möglichst keinen Schritt, sondern immer noch springen. Genau. Noch einen Durchgang bitte, dass ihr mehr rausspringt, auch beim einbeinigen Sprung. Zack, hopp, hopp. Gut. Locker bleiben, locker und schneller. Sehr gut.
Precise execution of the required movements and the associated constant correction by the coach are especially important if coordination and agility training is to be effective.
So, jetzt machen wir Drehsprünge um 180 Grad. Ja? Linksdrehung, Rechtsdrehung oder umgekehrt, wie ihr das gerne möchtet. Auf geht's. Möglichst schnell rausprellen. Hopp, ganze Körperdrehung, ganze Körperdrehung. Sehr gut, Miki. Komm weiter. Und los. Prima, prima. Schön stabil. Gut sieht das aus. Gut sieht das aus. Jawohl.
Jumps incorporating a turn, as shown here, should only be practiced if the player's muscles are sufficiently developed. Points to watch for are the players should land on the balls of their feet, with their feet apart, and the shoulder girdle should turn with the body.
Drehsprünge um 360 Grad, also einmal um die eigene Körperachse mit einem Zwischenhüpfer, damit ihr ein bisschen stabiler werdet. Denkt dran, dass ihr die Beine nicht zu eng zusammen habt, sonst kommt ihr aus dem Gleichgewicht. Auf geht's. Und ja, prima. Hops rum. Volle Körperdrehung. Voll rum. Sehr gut. Gut so. Ja. Breiter die Beine, etwas breiter die Beine. Stabiler stehen. Ja. Sehr gut. Ja, das ist perfekt, Viktor. Das ist perfekt. Hops. Nochmal, komm. Und nach vorne bis in den Körper. Super. Sehr gut.
In this exercise, the players carry out the turn with varying degrees of skill. This shows that such movements are unfamiliar to soccer players and are therefore especially difficult.
Einbeinig.
Hops over a higher obstacle with short periods of exertion should be carried out rhythmically, dynamically, and precisely. In this organizational format, which is also suitable for large groups, lots of combinations of jumps and steps can be practiced. Here we see a jumping exercise over longitudinal rods. This exercise is important for soccer players.
Und wieder auseinander. Ja, ja. Und nach vorne.
These cross jumps also make high demands on the player's coordination and agility. The degree of difficulty can be increased by introducing additional arm movements. Various jumping exercises over the transverse rods now follow.
Okay, ganz locker bleiben, gar nicht lange. Und reicht. Und rechts. Prima, reicht. Und Wechselsprünge. Und los. Locker bleiben, immer ganz locker. Ganz locker wieder, ganz locker. Ja, mach euch weiter, Viktor. Ist nicht schlimm, die Stange daneben liegt.
All exercises involving longitudinal and transverse rods can also be doubled to increase the degree of difficulty. The hops shown here should not all be tried in sequence. In everyday training sessions, the coach should ensure that there are sufficient pauses between the exercises.
Ja, gut. Jetzt rechts, einbeinige Prellsprünge rechts. Und mal schneller. Hopp, 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 hopp. Gut. Auf geht's. Ganz locker. Okay. Und den
Hops,
rechten
or
Bein.
two-footed jumps and fast combinations of steps, can be carried out in a raised triangle of rods.
Hopp. Auf geht's, Sprint. Einmal ums Hütchen rum, kurzer Antritt. Sehr
And
schön.
remember,
Okay.
soccer players should be able to sprint quickly in a
Einbeinige
given
Prellsprung
direction
rechts im Dreieck,
after a
auf
jump.
mein Signal, Sprint. Hopp. Tempo. Und schnell, 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 schnell. Und rückwärts.
In this exercise, forward, sideways, and backward movements are practiced and should be carried out as fast as possible. The coach should pay attention to the lowering of the body's center of gravity when a change of direction is made, to the optimal stride length, and to lifting the feet as little as possible when a sidestep is made. The following diagram shows the place of coordination within the whole spectrum of a player's skills. As well as muscular coordination, cognitive processes play a crucial part in finding fast solutions to problem situations. These are mental processes which involve absorbing and processing information. We can explain this using an example. In a soccer match, an attacker with the ball finds himself confronted by an opposing defender. He is at the stage of observing the situation. This involves taking in not only all the information in his immediate surroundings, but also his own situation. For example, his posture and the tension of his muscles. The player sizes up his position on the pitch. He needs to assess the game situation quickly and to take in a lot of information. He then needs to process it as fast as possible so that he can take the right course of action. Information processing involves not only deciding how to act, but also anticipating what the opponent will do, so that this can be countered by acting or reacting in a quick fashion. In our example, the attacker does this by feinting to move in one direction, then going past the defender in the other and shooting at goal. To summarize, the process of absorbing information, which is made up of observation, orientation, and information processing, including anticipation and decision-making, combined with optimal speed of movement, is referred to as speed of action. This can be best learned through complex game formats. Coordination training, however, selectively improves the muscular coordination elements of speed of action. By carrying out frequently varying tasks, the players learn to react very quickly to constantly changing situations.
Hopp, 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 Drehung. Jawohl, super. Und zurück. Ein Schritt. Hopp, 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 Drehung. Jawohl, super. Und zurück.
The guiding principle for coordination, agility, and speed training is carrying out simple movements under varying degrees of difficulty. The task can be systematically made more difficult according to the level of ability of the group. Movements can be made more complicated or complex, such as the difficult combinations of steps shown here. An important principle for coordination and agility training is level of demands. The demands made on the players must correspond to the level of the ability of the group. The exercises must be just within the scope of the players' capabilities, not so much with regard to their strength and stamina, but rather their ability to carry out a given task quickly and precisely. Here we see movements intended to deceive an opponent, so-called feints. These are frequently used by soccer players in every position. Typical movements from one type of skill are just as worthwhile as general coordination tasks.
Ja, und ran. Komm, hopp. Und hopp. Und hopp. Gut. Weiter. Hopp, Runde. Ja, das ist gut. Sehr schön. Ums Hütchen rum.
In this exercise, the players demonstrate a fast change of direction on specified paths. A player in the middle forces the others to take evasive action. The player on the left watches his partner's movements and attempts to follow them exactly. A high level of reaction and orientation are required in this exercise. The second important criterion of successful coordination training is precision.
Hohes Tempo, auf dem Fußballen laufen,
The
Armeinsatz.
coach should watch for precise execution of the movements, even though they are carried out under pressure of time.
Ja, schönes Tempo. Komm, komm. Versuche mal, auf geht's. Gut. Schneller rausprellen, gar nicht so lange Bodenkontakt halten. Tap, tap, raus.
In this exercise, the player is required to carry out a rhythmic, smooth movement as dynamically as possible over an obstacle course with different distances between the rods. This can be done on one leg. Here we can see clearly that the distances between the rods vary.
Schrittsprünge von links auf rechts. Hoch. Ja, ja. Gleichmäßig, rhythmisch.
The players should also cover this course rhythmically and flowingly.
Links, links. Ja. Links, links. Gut. Schön weit raus.
The players must pay attention to the distances between the rods and adjust their jumps to the course.
Rück vor. Gut. Das Tempo etwas beschleunigen, schneller rausspringen, schneller vortreiben.
Now the players have to change direction during the jumps. The coach should watch for short ground contacts, especially in connection with the backward jumps. Successful coordination, agility, and speed training also requires the players to concentrate. Challenges should be posed by continuously changing the sequences of movements in the course. This has a motivational effect and also promotes the players' concentration. The players must be able to concentrate well when they are required to execute difficult sequences of steps on a demanding course, or as here when a fast tempo is required. Here the players are expected to cover an obstacle course with different distances between the rods at an even running pace. We see again the main principle of this very important aspect of a soccer player's training. Simple movements are carried out under varying degrees of difficulty.
Schneller raus. Schneller rausprellen, schneller raus. Fußballen, wer auf dem Fußballen? Ja, gut. Immer dazu zwingen, auf dem Fußballen zu arbeiten. Könnt ihr schneller rausprellen.
Where coordination, agility, and speed training is concerned, less is more. This means short periods of exertion of no more than 10 to 15 seconds should be followed by complete recuperation. Coordination, agility, and speed can best be improved in a relaxed state. The training plan must take account of this.
Links, links, rechts, rechts, links, links. Gut. Vorne, mehr Trieb nach vorne.
A basic prerequisite for successful training is a high level of motivation on the part of the players.
Ihr sollt über die ersten beiden Stangen jeweils 2 Kontakte im Zwischenraum. Nach der zweiten Stange, also immer nach der roten, wieder zurück, 2 Kontakte und wieder vor bis zur roten, zurück, 2 Kontakte.
We have already mentioned that all exercises should be carried out as fast as possible, only touching the ground briefly.
Du kannst beginnen.
The effectiveness of the training increases when the players enjoy the exercises. Experience gained in basic training with FC Schalke 4 and in soccer schools has shown that players like to carry out coordination and agility tasks. When they see that they are making progress, they are especially highly motivated.
Wir machen Sidesteps über die Stangen rüber. Hohes Tempo. Ja, denkt dran, dass wir unterschiedliche Höhen haben, dass wir mit den Füßen hinkommen, die Stangen nicht runterwerfen. Auf geht's.
Fast sidesteps are carried out with arm movements in the opposite direction. This corresponds to the real running movement, which is more strongly accentuated here. The following variations can be practiced. The arms can be folded across the chest, stretched out sideways, or held in other positions. This increases the level of difficulty of the exercise.
Gut, bleib seitlich. 2 nur, 2 Schritte. Okay, sehr gut. Prellsprünge vorwärts. Ja, hier über die Stange prellen. Dann im Dreieck schnelle Prellsprünge. Wieder über die Stange, dort hinten das gleiche. Prellsprünge im Dreieck. Und zwar zweimal rum. Hier auch zweimal rum. Und als letztes über die letzte Stange springen. Und das mit einem möglichst hohen Tempo, aber sauber arbeiten, präzise.
Combining rods and hoops in a single course offers further possibilities of making the conditions more difficult. Remember, the exercises must be simplified if the players are not equal to the demands made on them.
Mal höheres Tempo zu machen im Dreieck. Höheres Tempo im Dreieck. Gut. Ein Prellsprung über die erste Stange. 2 Kontakte, Laufarbeit im Dreieck, ja, in den Ringen. Zweimal herum, dann wieder Prellsprung über die Stange und das gleiche beim zweiten Reifenparcours. Okay. Prellen, laufen. Nochmal. Hopp, hopp, schnelle Schritte, hopp, raus. Bisschen die Knie höher, damit du Schritte machst. Fußballen. Rechts, links, rüber. Und links, rechts, links.
In this course, the rhythm of the player's movements is deliberately made more difficult. Jumps and steps should be carried out at a high speed.
Vor, zurück und hopp, 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 vor.
Varying the exercises in an obstacle course is of crucial importance for coordination and agility training. Again, variation.
Wir haben jetzt hier Stangen mit Reifen kombiniert. Ja, das ist besonders schwierig, weil wir verschiedene Bewegungsformen drin machen wollen. Damit ihr euch da eingewöhnt, machen wir ganz einfach mal Prellsprünge über die Stange und dann beidbeinig in den ersten Reifen, rechts, links jeweils in den zweiten, beidbeinig in den letzten und weiter Prellsprünge rüber. Ganz einfache Kombination. Auf geht's, hintereinander weg.
New tasks and movements arouse interest and are enjoyable. Varying the tasks also gives a new stimulus. Some more interesting combinations of hoops and rods now follow with variable tasks. Tires can be used for older players.
Das ist die Arbeit. Nochmal bitte. Schneller Drehsprung. Hopp. Ja, gutes Tempo. So, wir haben jetzt einen Reifenparcours aufgelegt, in dem ihr einbeinig in Schrittsprüngen überwinden sollt. Ja? Hier machen wir einen beidbeinigen Prellsprung. Kommen auf beiden Beinen wieder auf. Und aus dieser Position heraus sollt ihr mit dem rechten Fuß zuerst abwechselnd dann links, rechts, links, rechts, links, rechts und so weiter den Parcours überwinden. Ja? Auf geht's. Wieder schön rausprellen. Hopp, ganz locker.
If the tires are moved further apart, such courses can also be used to train coordinative jumping power. The aim here is to shorten the contact times with the ground.
Sofort wieder rausprellen können. Das ist entscheidend. Oberkörpereinsatz, die Arme müsst ihr dazu benutzen, richtig, merkt ihr schon. Noch einen Durchgang bitte. Hopp, und jetzt raus. Locker, locker, schön. Prellen. Fußballen. Wir versuchen das einmal mit dem rechten Fuß zuerst auf rechts zu springen und dann auf links. Rechts, rechts, links, links. Prellsprung. Rechts, rechts, links, links. Super. Sehr gut.
You will certainly have your own ideas about how the exercise can be varied or new exercises created. With this system as a basis, you will be able to design worthwhile and interesting supplementary training sessions for players at all levels. Here, the juniors of Schalke 4 demonstrate familiar coordination and agility tasks for specific soccer techniques. Naturally, the additional tasks can be adapted to other skills. The players start at one side, jump or run over the rods, and sprint to the center. Then comes a change of direction, with or without a turn. After a header or a shot at goal, the players cover an obstacle course and change position with the passer in goal. This organizational format offers numerous possibilities at the three central locations: in the middle, in front of goal, and in the obstacle course. At the center is a cross made of rods. which also allows a variety of movement tasks to be set. With a little imagination, new formats can be developed. The players now set off simultaneously from mutually opposite starting points and have to adjust their speed to each other. After simultaneously crossing the rods at the center, they carry out the technical task and join the opposite group. Here too, the coach should watch for precise and fast execution of the general coordination tasks. Players especially enjoy a coordination task followed by a duel. The players try to cover the course at maximum speed. Movement adjustments are especially important here. Players with a high level of agility are able to act and react quickly in all situations. These include changes of direction, starting from the basic position, changing and applying the technique specific to a particular type of skill, effective technical execution despite hindrance from an opponent, and fast and economic leg movements in defense. In this video, we have demonstrated the importance of coordination and agility skills and developing speed and acceleration. Coordination and agility are important building blocks for the optimal development of the abilities of all players. For this reason, coordination, agility, and speed training should be an integral part of every coaching session for players from youth to professional teams.